And we're live.
God, I used to sound so compressed, and now I sound much clearer than I did before.
Indeed.
I'm not going through a compressor at all. I'm only using a limiter now to do volume control.
Nice.
I quit using a compressor entirely. I also have a little bit of reverb.
Nice. I have some
because my
compression
voice
on
sounds
still.
like it's empty.
What's my compression at?
Twatted and all that good stuff?
No, I have not tweeted. My compression, so threshold is 27 dB, ratio is 1.6 to 1. I need this thing. Because it has the tweet
makes me want
template
to
in
get.
it.
I really need to get the digital stomp box for muting. It does the exact same thing as this one, except you can't hear the switch when I turn it back on. It's just like $100, man. I'm a little light right now.
I know that feel.
Yep.
Injustice Ultimate Edition is free on Steam right now. The version with all the DLC.
Nice.
Nice.
I might grab that
fucking
since it's free.
I just installed it. I'm so excited.
I grabbed the $200 edition of the newest Tomb Raider because it was like 80 something. It was $20 on Steam a while ago.
Oh wow!
And
Is that the
like,
one that comes with like it's got the DLC and it's got the I think it does it come with an OST as well?
Maybe, I don't know. It came with a whole bunch of shit. I was looking at it, and there were two different versions. There was the base version and the other version. And I was like, so what all does the extra version come with? So I went to the page, and it was like, on sale, normally $200, now $20. And I was like, yep, sure.
I'm there.
I wonder if a lot of that's just like cosmetic stuff. Like I know that I've like played some Final Fantasies back on like the PS3 where like if you wanted to like spend the money to buy every single thing, it would probably be
Mass Effect 2 had like $200 worth of cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking. There's a game that is one of my favorite games to play. It's a party game. Just Shapes and Beats. It's like a rhythm game meets a bullet hell game.
Nope.
And so, like, you have to. Like, it is super fun. You're just this little shape, and the beat of the music triggers like just bullet hell, basically. And so if like you survive all the way to the end, there's like boss battles with big bosses that like swing arms. And you're just like trying to avoid it.
That reminds me of a game that I played on my Mac like many years ago. It's called Beat Hazard Ultra, and basically you can use like your own music files, and it just sort of procedurally generates a sort of top-down space shooter based on the music. So like I think it's mostly like velocity. So like as soon as the music starts getting louder, like the waveform gets thicker, then it's like, hey, send more enemies. But it does like cool stuff with like effects and stuff like that based on the sound as well.
I just downloaded Archaea, which is a mobile rhythm game, and I did the tutorial, and it has interesting mechanics. We'll see if I play any more of it.
I think I've mentioned it before, but I also recommend Cytus 2 on mobile. Very good.
How do you spell that?
Cytus.
That is not the way I would have guessed.
Fair.
One of my favorite things about doing this show is that every time I go to open up the Twitch, I remember to grab my Prime loot. That's just a little fringe benefit.
It seems like I'm on Twitch a lot, and it seems like every time I open Twitch, I have 14 new Prime loots, and I just
Mhm.
click the thing to make the notification go away, and because that's too much shit to look at.
Yep.
Yeah, usually to like skip over the ones that are like click to learn more, and it's usually
Mhm.
like we're giving you like free end-game DLC, like skins or something for a game that you don't play. It's like, sweet, thank you. But I also have like, it's funny, between all the different places that I can either get like bundled content or free content, like Twitch or Humble Bundle or whatever else. Anytime I want to like play a game I've been thinking about playing, I kind of need to like go check all the different places I might already own it before I decide to buy it.
Yep.
Which is kind of an interesting
Oh,
thing.
there is. If we're gonna be playing GTA ever, which we should because I'm setting up a new heist.
Nice.
If
nice.
we're you can there's a prime reward, a prime benefit that's $1 million every month that you play the game.
Oh,
So like I would definitely claim that.
yeah, you should show me how to do that.
It's just a drop down on the prime loot
Oh,
tab.
is it? Okay.
It's right there in the list, yeah. You just have to link the accounts and stuff.
I could really use money in GTA because I don't have that.
I ran out because the setup for this heist required me to buy it was a $65,000 setup, and it required me to buy a facility, and those are like $1.5 million. So I'm out of money. I got like $200,000.
The heist gets you like 10K.
Yeah, right. Me and Cherno were working through some of the setup, and then there's 3 more setup missions in the heist.
Were you doing that last night?
Mm-mm.
Last night.
No, I couldn't play last night.
Last night, Jake sent me a message, and he has a submarine car now, I guess. So
That's one
that'll
of
be
those fun cars in the game. You can play them if you play transformation races. You'll get some that use that car specifically.
Okay.
It's a ton of fun. That's one of the reasons I like playing stunt races so much, is you get to play all these dumb cars.
Well, shall we start the
Is
podcast
this an anime show?
proper?
It's about to be.
Welcome to AniFiles, episode 97. I'm your host, Ryan. With us today we have Chris,
Hello.
Dean,
Yeah.
and special guest Libby.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about anime. And after we talk about the anime, we're going to rate the shows. And here's how... Oh, and 0 is 0. But he's
Yes,
in chat.
0 is 0.
Here's how we rate the shows.
Oh, that's turned way down. Here we go.
Yeah, you sure about that?
Are we not playing?
Nope.
I don't hear anything.
Is this not playing?
Nope.
Oh my god. Okay. I have to explain this. So I am okay, I'm doing summer classes over Zoom, and every time I do that, I have to go into voice meter and disconnect this machine from, like, I have to stop the route, or like Discord notifications and shit from this machine will play into my Zoom class. So I have to, like, that's why that's turned off. Let's fix that, and it's done, and now we can do the thing. Is it fixed?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh my god.
All right.
Peeking behind the curtain here, listeners.
I
This is
got
actually
it. I just turned on the wrong one. Here we go. Now it's fixed. And
here's how the AniFiles rating system works. Our hosts and guests have watched the first episode of the shows we're talking about today. Based on only that first episode, we'll answer 5 yes or no questions. Did the premise interest you? Did the production impress you? Did the storytelling impress you? Did you enjoy the first episode? Did the first episode make you interested to see more? The way we interpret the word impress can make the AniFiles rating system tougher than some. Being decent or merely good won't be enough to stand out, and some of us may have higher standards than others. Each question answered yes earns the show 1 point, adding up to a total between 0 and 5 per host. All of our scores are then combined to derive a cumulative score between 0 and 100%, letting you know at a glance if we collectively liked the show. And now, let's get to our first show.
Shit makes me want to suck start a 12 gauge. God damn it. It's fucking terrible.
I think we're coming through your speakers, Dean.
Yep. We're doubled.
Oh, you are now? God damn it. Okay. Now it's fixed.
Is it?
Hello?
It seems
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, I was like, don't start the echoing thing. I hate it.
This is
I
actually
hate
all
it.
just comedy filler because it's
Yeah,
gonna be a very
right.
short episode.
Yeah, it's a bit. I'm just going to claim it's a bit and that I'm not an idiot.
Not
The first show we have to talk about is Bisatsu Olympia Kiklos. Dean, go to town.
Oh man. Okay, so this show is, I want to first talk about, before I actually start describing what happens, I want to talk about the way the show looks. This show is claymation. And it's claymation with just gray clay that looks like Greek statues, Greco-Roman statues.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic. It's so aesthetic. It's got a little bit of like that vaporwave kind of feel to it as well. It's fucking great.
It is very vaporwave.
It is. I love
At
it.
the
I fucking
beginning.
love this.
And then
Because like they have the
stops being
sunset
vaporwave.
colors behind. Yeah. Yes, Zero. Claymation anime. It's fucking awesome. So this show we have Demetrius, and he's Demetrius looks of course like a Greek statue, whatever. He's in the water, and he sees a dolphin who he imagines to be this chick that he digs. And then it's a dolphin again. And then the mayor of the town is on a cliff overlooking the water, and he's like, "Hey, you useless fuck, get over here, you piece of shit." And so the dude climbs out of the water and does like a flip, and he like puts on his clothes while he's doing a flip, and then he's in front of the mayor, and the mayor's like, "I could use this guy's agility to make money." But then he just continues berating the guy. And then Demetrius, it cuts to like, and he's like, "This is why this chick that you like never loves you, is because you have no money and you're useless and you're a prick and I hate you." And then so now Demetrius is painting pottery, probably painting dudes fucking dudes, because that's all the Greeks painted on pottery, as far as I know.
Historically accurate.
That's the only pottery I care about. So he's painting the pottery, and then the mayor pops into his house and he continues berating him. He's like, "You useless prick with no money. You fucking don't care about honor. You're a piece of shit, Demetrius. I hate you."
I love how when he's talking about how important honor is and how you should like strive for honor, he's got like money coins for irises.
That's exactly right. The idea being the idea being that he's going to trick Demetrius into being in the Olympics and like try to make money off of it.
Mhm.
That's where this is headed. But then Demetrius gets isekai'd into Tokyo in what looks like the mid 20th century, because there's like cable cars and not cable cars, street trolleys and shit like that. So it looks like the mid 20th century. I'm not sure when it's supposed to be, but this motherfucker got isekai'd from ancient Greece and into Tokyo, and he's seeing a dude, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's Thor with a lightning bolt." And the Japanese guy there goes, "This is a baked ham." Or a baked yam. I'm sorry, not a ham, a yam. It's two different things, hams and yams.
False.
He's like, "This is a baked yam," and also, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "Where am I?" He's like, "What polis is this?" And he's like, "You're in Tokyo, dude. This is Tokyo." And he's like, "Tokyo police." It's my favorite thing in the world.
We need
then,
to
like-
we need to point out that at this point it has stopped being claymation and started being animation, except for Demetrius, who is still claymation.
And the other dude is also fully 2D. So there's a side-on shot where he's talking to the other guy, and the other dude, this looks like Paper Mario. Like he's totally flat tilted just a little bit so you can see like the front bit of the flat piece that he is. And it's fucking, I love it. And then there's an ending song that talks about like Greek shit, and it's hilarious. It's like a comedy song that's the ED. And it's the best, and I love this show and everything about it, and I would watch an entire show that was just this show about history shit. Like, it would be amazing. This thing feels like it belongs on Adult Swim. Like, it's so fucking cool. I love it.
Also, this is Tokyo circa 1964.
1964. Okay, so mid 20th century was was
which
not a bad
I believe
guess.
was the year they hosted the Olympics. So
That
Oh.
would track. But yeah, like
That
the
makes
whole thing is,
sense.
I fucking love it, dude. I
It was-
love this show.
I really enjoyed this one. It was pretty
Mhm.
good. The mayor's relationship with our main character was a little odd, and actually,
Just constantly berating him.
well, it felt very Japanese. Like these guys had too much of a sense of community? Question mark.
Yeah, well, there's a weird there's a weird sort of understanding about Greek history where people try to turn it into this big democratic brotherly fraternal type of thing, but when in actuality it was a shitload of warring states. Like it was like the perception of Greece really depends upon who you're asking. So I can totally see that there would be some Japanese stuff injected into this, along with the idea of like the sort of fraternal democratic Greece that supposedly existed, but really never did. Um, yeah, that's a good observation. It's not Greece as Greece. It's Greece through a different lens.
Yeah, because so the mayor makes the comment like at the beginning of the anime. He's like, "I'm exhausted. I told 4 whole slaves what to do today."
That was fucking hilarious.
And which implies to me that Demetrius, Demont,
Mhm.
is not the mayor's slave. So what's the mayor doing, hanging around his house, micromanaging him all day? That's not what mayors
that was
do.
a little strange. That was a little strange because it's like, what's his job? What is he? He's not a slave. Because the mayor also doesn't tell him you'll never be with this chick because you're a slave. Like he doesn't say that. He says you'll
Mhm.
never be with this chick because she hates you because you're poor and stupid. So like
Well, what he says is that's why like my daughter's not interested in you, but
Mhm.
it could be like maybe theory crafting a little bit. Maybe his daughter is into him, and that's why he's taking an interest in him.
Is
So it's
Demetrius a
like,
real figure? Could we figure this out just by googling Demetrius?
Probably not.
I, mm, I mean, all of the biggest thing I noticed at first, one of my first notes, and I love as soon as this came up, he was just like, Demetrius, more like Dimitri useless.
That was fucking great.
Thick burn.
apparently Demetrius the First of Macedon was like a politician or something like that, but I don't think it's supposed to be like. I don't think this character is that.
I think it's just a rando.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. There was a Demetrius who was a Greek sculptor, but I'm seeing no references to the Olympics. So like I don't think this is an actual thing.
Well, so the other thing actually that conversation between the mayor and Demetrius managed to do is kind of establish for people who maybe aren't aware, like what form the Olympics took in the early days. They talk about, for instance, like only beasts would beat each other until they're bloody, and stuff like that. Like that used to be a sport. Like there was a lot of the competitions
Pugilism.
were yes, a lot of the competitions in like the early Olympics were derived from like martial arts and stuff like that. So yeah.
Greco-Roman wrestling, just naked dude tackling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's my favorite sport.
Yeah.
I wish
I'm
they
not a
still did
fan
it
of-
naked.
I'm not a fan of sports ball, but I think
There's muscular dudes just flipping each other, dicks waggling in the wind.
That we have mud wrestling with chicks. Why can't we bring it back? Bring it
Bring back.
Greek dude. Bring it back.
I'm with you 100% of the way. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, do we have anything else to say, or should we get on to ratings?
As Ryan starts to blush.
I just love this style, man. This show has so much style, and it's like that's something that will endear me to a show. Zero
Being
says I like the athleticism.
unapologetically wacky.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Zero. I liked his athleticism when he jumped out of the water and his robe was perfect. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, and it does like a thing where like they didn't fully do stop motion on the jumping and flipping, so it's just like weird cross-faded stuff where he's like throwing the robe on in midair. It was fucking awesome. Like this is, as far as a short goes, I think this is one of my favorites. Like it hits me in the same place that Pop Team Epic kind of did, but it does it with such a different tone and such a different style
Mhm.
that like, everything about this, man, it's so creative. I
Yeah,
love it.
we will often poke fun at shorts in particular, but like a lot of anime just like for being kind of dumb. But like they kind of embrace the quirkiness in a way that it's like clearly intentional and supposed to be funny. And so like, yeah, it's a stylistic choice and not just being dumb because it's dumb.
That's exactly right. And it's also a perfect short.
Mhm.
It was like
Yep.
it's like a 5-minute episode. The ED is also content. Like the
Mhm.
ED is a comedy song about being a Greek. Like the whole thing is the whole 5 minutes is all content, but I would not watch it for 20. That's a perfect short. It's
I-
so good.
I liked the ED's shout out to historic misogyny.
That was hilarious. He was talking about like what was he talking? He was talking about the vote or something like that, and he was like, "But you don't get it because you're a girl."
Yep.
I think it might have been like the I forget the term for it, but like when people would like gather to like talk philosophy and like possibly lawmaking.
Oh
and stuff
yeah,
like
it
that.
was the
It
not
starts
the
with
agora.
Acropolis. No.
No, I've forgotten the word.
Ecclesiastes.
The Ecclesiastes. That's it. And it was
That's not
he was like, "But you don't get to because you're a girl."
Yeah.
it was fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah.
I
The
fucking love it.
song was catchy.
And we
Like,
talk about
annoyingly
how
catchy.
the vase having lightning go into it makes it a time travel machine. Like that to
fucking
me was just
awesome.
I actually enjoyed that because it reminds me of so many times on like cartoon shows. There's something that makes absolutely no scientific sense that suddenly becomes a time machine. Like in The Simpsons, they do a Treehouse of Horror episode with the toaster, and he just adds like 4 extra light bulbs, and suddenly it's a time travel machine.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy that because it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be fun. Don't ask questions.
No explanation given. He got isekai'd into 1960s Japan. That's all you need to know.
Yep.
I also love that this show's an isekai. Like kind of. He's technically time and space traveling, but not to a different world. It's the same world at a different time and place. So
Yeah.
I would call it an isekai, even if it's not a strict isekai.
All right, Dean, what are your scores?
Scenario interest. I think when we read the thing for this, the synopsis, it was described as like a thing that's there to celebrate the Olympic thing and all this other stuff.
Did we read the
'cause they had
synopsis
the-
for this? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
when we
when we
drew
were
the
doing the
show.
drawings.
And it was because Japan has the Olympics again, and it was sort of, this is kind of in celebration of that and a reference to the other time they had the Olympics. And we read that, and we both kind of thought it was going to be like a tourism board short that we get every now and then, where it's like, but who fucking really cares? This is just a little girl walking around a town I'm never going to visit. But this was not that at all. So as far as scenario interest goes, I'm not going to give it a point because of just I wasn't interested. That said, as soon as the OP started, I was like, oh fuck, I'm in. Dude's riding a fucking dolphin like in front of the sunset. It was I love it. The production impressed me. This thing has style for days. Everything was a clear choice. It doesn't look lazy, and like their style is there to cover up for laziness. Claymation's hard, and they did it very well. And I'm gonna say the production absolutely impresses me. Everything's a choice. Everything here is a choice. Making the Japanese guy that he's talking to 2D is a choice. The storytelling I thought was great. You could track everything. There wasn't too much for the short, but there also wasn't so little that you're like, why is this even a show? I enjoyed watching it, and I'm probably gonna watch this whole thing. Just like sit down in an afternoon and just burn through every one of these because God, it's so much fun to watch.
All right. For me, scenario interest, no. Similar to Dean, the thing I didn't remember reading it off earlier, but the thing Dean came up, I would say no. Production, yeah, same reasons as Dean. Storytelling, yeah, same reasons as Dean. Enjoy the first episode, yeah. But am I interested to see more? Not really. I don't care. I'm glad that I watched that 2 minutes of a show, and I'm done. Libby?
Alrighty. I would say, did the premise interest me? No. When Chris told me about this short, I immediately just groaned, just like, this sounds dumb. Um, but production definitely impressed me. When I first saw it, I was just like, what is this? I've never seen an anime like this. But that was the point, is that they just went crazy with it. It was just wacky the whole time. I couldn't stop watching it. And it was hilarious, the way that they used the production in their favor. So I'll say yes for me. Storytelling, yes. It was really funny, but you knew what was going on. It was a simple storyline, but that's all you need in a short. Like, it's just like we were talking about what occupation is he? It doesn't matter. He's poor and useless. That's what he is. He's too
Yeah.
useless. Like,
That's exactly right.
and oh god. Okay, so that's 3, right? I'm like trying to keep track of my brain.
Next is enjoy and interested.
And I'm gonna say yes to both. Like, I could see laughing really hard on an anime night watching this, similar to like to me had a very similar, not the same style, but a similar type of watching enjoyment as like Nichijou, where it's just kind of off the wall and ridiculous, and then you laugh, and it's just like, this is just fun. I just like it. So that would be 4 for me.
And Chris.
All right, Besatsu Olympia Kiklos episode 1. Honor is definitely best girl. Because make a joke in there at one point where he's like, the mayor likes Honor so much, why doesn't he just marry it? Which is a very mature joke that I enjoyed. So did the premise interest me? I'm really on the fence about this one, because like I think when I heard it, it's either something that like in the context of it being like really weird and wacky, it's like, yeah, I love what they did with it. But also going into it, anime has made me wary of stuff that sounds that weird. So I think I'm gonna give it a no, just because I went into this kind of like bracing myself. Did the production impress me? Yes, for all the reasons we already talked about. The storytelling impressed me. Again, a little bit on the fence. It wasn't impressive per se, but it was funny, and it was paced well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a nod. Did I enjoy the first episode? Yes. Did the first episode make me just see more? I would say it did, just because like I would definitely watch more of that. I don't know if I will necessarily, but yeah. So I believe that is a 4 for me.
I wanna like drive home the point that this show is actually funny. Like,
Yeah.
this is an anime comedy that's legitimately funny.
That brings our total score to a 15 or 75%. Don't worry, it's all downhill from here.
Yep.
All right, so the
That
next
concludes
show,
the good part of the episode.
the next show we have to talk about is Gal Gaku Hijiri Girls Square Gakuen. So this is the show 0 that I posted the screenshot of in the Discord earlier. The opening line to this show. Oh shit! Hang on, I have to pull it up now. Because I don't remember it off the top
0
of my
in
head.
chat just goes, oh god.
So the opening, the show opens with the OP, and the opening line of the OP, the very first line of the show, it would seem 30 centimeters of unrequited love would reach, but it doesn't. So this is a show about high school size queens.
Yeah.
What is this show actually about? I have no fucking idea. The show is 2 minutes and it was incomprehensible. There was a girl at school. Girls try to get into school. Girls have to score girl points and they sing. I don't
That's it. No, that is a
fucking know.
perfect synopsis of what happened.
Yeah. Don't
This
need to
was a-
explain it anymore.
This was a
repeat the
fucking
OP
train wreck.
in the show. Like, it happens diegetically in the show in
Yeah.
theory, but
Um,
Maybe to
our main character wants to be a girl Gaku, a girl power girl at the school. Just one problem. She's ugly. So good luck.
That was always my problem. It's one problem. She ugly.
it's yet another idol show where like the purpose of the school is for people to go there to learn to be idols, and they're all aiming for the same thing, to perform on the girls stage, I think they called it, or the girls arena.
The girls arena.
And then
And,
there's a revolution that's incomprehensible, and our main character never shows up. And in the
Different show.
middle of the show, the main character's just gone.
If you want to know how this show is related to,
I was about to ask.
what's the series, the Prism?
I think it's
Prism.
the Ryan's AniFiles Prism Dean, like shared
The shared
Prism
idol
universe. Yeah.
The girls literally perform on stage for girl points, so there you go. I don't
obviously
even have to
Prism
do
tech.
any work. This just actually is Prism.
Is it good girl points? Because this takes on a different tone.
just girl points.
Oh, well, never mind.
An interesting choice that I noticed actually in the VO, like both in like the singing and in the performance, is that whereas most shows like this that are like, you know, kind of in my mind clearly made for younger girls who just want to like have like a fun idol show, and like fantasize about being an idol, like,
But their attention spans are too short to watch an actual idol show.
well, that too. But usually like they make all the girls like very cutesy, and so like they'll play up like the, you know, kind of like high pitched, like very sort of typical anime young girl sort of thing. But they actually all the voice actors used kind of like a very naturalistic vocal tone, and like even to the extent that it felt like the girls were older, like they sounded older than they were implied to be,
I
which was
actually
interesting.
noticed that.
Yeah,
like
the
they
main
actually
characters-
sounded like a VA talking and not doing a voice.
The main
Mhm.
character specifically really stood out in a bad way for that reason. It was not.
It's
natural.
even contrasted too, because they on like the little app where she's talking to a virtual version of herself, I guess, then that one uses the cutesy higher pitched you know, anime voice. And so I'm reminded, and I haven't seen it, but I think what was the name of it? It's there's I think it's a KyoAni anime. It's about a group of girls who start a band in their
K-On?
high school. K-On, yeah. If I remember correctly, that one also uses comparatively naturalistic voices because they wanted it to be
Yes.
like a little bit more like humanizing, and like these are just like normal girls doing things, and not trying to be like ultra cutesy or whatever. And so like that one, I can see how there's actual aesthetic choice to do that based on what they're trying to do with the show. This one, I'm not sure if there is a purpose for it.
And
but-
that show, it also felt natural. Like the voices still sounded. They didn't, as far as I understand, they didn't do away with the cutesiness entirely. They just had them tone it down, so it still sounds like younger girls' voices instead of older girls' voices on the middle schooler's body.
And I also want to like, I'm not necessarily even criticizing this show for like making that choice. It's just interesting that when so many anime do it, this one doesn't, and so it stood out.
And
it's
it didn't
interesting.
quite sound right in the show because the other characters did have those cutesy voices. And so like for this to
Yeah, I don't know.
Like-
It definitely stood out in a bad way in this show, I think.
Maybe it's a play on Regina George. Like you think she's a high schooler, but she's actually a 28-year-old actress, and then your mind is blown.
every high schooler in every movie made between 2000 and like 2015 maybe, when they actually started casting teenagers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I definitely. I mean, that was
Tobey
my
Maguire is a 33-year-old man in this high school.
yeah. Just stayed back, made sure she flunked her classes so that she could stay in the idol sports.
I love the
Shall
fact
we?
that we're through that period, because I hated having to try and believe that Tobey Maguire was a high school student who was just going through puberty and fucking Spider-Man. Like, he's fucking 30.
James Franco.
Right. Yeah.
Shall we get on to ratings? The show.
Yeah, we'll talk about anything other than the show.
Did the
Yeah.
premise interest me? No. Did the production impress me? God, no. This show looks like ass. Did the storytelling impress me? No, it was 2 minutes, and I can't tell you what happened in the show. Did I enjoy the first episode? I didn't dislike it. It was so fast. It was kind of a brain fuck. Just
I
like,
can't feel anything about this.
what just happened to me? But no, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. And am I interested to see more? No. Libby?
Oh man. I mean, I could go through each one individually, but it's gonna be straight zeros for me. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't care about any of it. Like, I think somehow it couldn't even keep my attention for 2 minutes. Like, about 30 seconds into it, I started, oh, my cat's over there. No, pay
Mhm.
attention. AniFiles. Okay. Oh, look, she has a little bottle cap. Isn't that cute? Oh, right, the show. Like, it was too long for me. So, I mean, nothing about this piqued my interest. Nothing makes me want to see more. Production, no. So, it's going to be just zeros for me.
Chris?
All right, Galgaku, Hijiri Girls, Square Gaku in episode 1. Your worth is measured in girl points. Did the premise interest me? Obviously not. Did the production impress me? It did not. Although it did have kind of a unique style. It was like not quite chibi, but like I got this sense, like the vibe from the show, that it's kind of like promoting some sort of product, maybe an app or something like that. I'm not sure.
Oh, that would be a thing, wouldn't it?
The storytelling impressed me. It did not. I mentioned earlier that like we have the OP, and then this is basically just like whatever time they spent like with the story was just, here's main character, it's the first day of idol school, here's the objective of idol school, and now let us repeat the OP. And that was basically it. No, it did not impress me. Did I enjoy the first episode? I did not. Did it make me interested to see more? It did not. So those are straight zeros.
And Dean.
Straight zeros for the exact same reasons that Ixie and everyone else has said. I just looked this up, and this is the only anime that's tied to this property, and I cannot find any references to any other.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Like the idea that this is a franchise. Like there's nothing. Someone just decided to make this.
This
And
is our big.
watching
This is
it-
our big shot. It's gonna get so big.
Right. And watching this immediately after watching Basatsu Olympia Kiklos was like, here's everything to do in a short. Everything to do to make your short interesting and watchable and fun. And then everything not to do in your short. Make it confusing and boring and just
It's very educational.
I got through the first episode and I was like, I have to recap this. What the fuck even happened? So I debated watching it again, but I was so kind of bored and put off by it. I was like, nah, it's fine. I'll just say whatever.
You couldn't devote 2 more minutes
Two
to
more
this
minutes.
show to try and get the synopsis. That's how bad it was.
Well, that brings our total score for the show to a 0 or 0%. Next show we have to talk about, do we want to take a break?
I wouldn't mind one, actually.
Do we want to take a break after Komota G-san?
That works.
All right.
Yeah, we can do that because we have a full-length show to talk about after that.
We only have
Yeah.
4 shows to talk about this episode, so...
Mhm.
The next show we have to talk about is Komata G-san. Chris, will you tease me?
You were not the old lady, so I will not.
Ah, shit.
Tease me, Chris. Tease me.
So should I do the summary in ASMR? No. So this is a
This man is experiencing cognitive decline.
this is a 1-minute short. We have an old man and an old lady, and it's definitely like one of those like sort of like 4-kami, like this is definitely just like, you know, like a little 4-panel manga that's being adapted.
Yeah. It was
Zero.
obviously a 4-kami.
Everyone else gets asked to tease Ryan except me, Pepe Hands. But sorry. We have the title card meal. So this little short's called meal, and old man and old lady are sitting at their table, and the old man is like, dear, where is my food? And she's like, oh well, you're eating it right now. He's like, oh, which hand do I use for that again? The right hand. Which one's my right hand? Are you really that senile? And then he kind of like changes his tone and like kind of takes on like this sort of like, you know, more this deeper, more attractive voice. And he says,
Right.
I was just faking, or I was just kidding, or something like that. And then the grandma starts blushing, and you hear audibly "Dookie," which of course is the term for kind of like heart thump. So like your heart kind of like skips a beat, or you're like, oh, so cute. And then he says, the old man always teases the old lady. And we cut to credits.
It was great. It was a single joke, and that was it. And it wasn't a funny joke.
It wasn't.
But I laughed when the credits rolled because that's all that this show was.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is obviously a forecoming. You can see all 4 panels in this show. Like and the fact that it wasn't funny, I'm like, why would you pick this for number 1? Like hit me with this at number 3 and maybe you're okay, but give me something funny on number 1.
It's all the concept though. Like I definitely got what the show is going for.
Like I've got no idea what the show is. I thought this man actually had dementia and that his wife was like, how much more senile can you be? And I'm like, you bitch!
Oh yeah,
it's a short series like actually addresses like mental decline in the elderly and like
we were 45 seconds into this and I was like, this guy needs to be in a home.
Yeah.
I know.
I thought it was gonna be a serious short, like, oh man, this is like hitting on some real life. Just kidding. Like, what? How is that? I expected her to just burst into tears. And just,
I know. It was fucking insane. I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, well, what is happening to this old man?
Yeah,
and
I think I read it as
being
like
a bitch to him about it.
I sort of was reading it as like a joke at the old man's expense, like maybe almost like in bad taste to sort of like say like
that made it worse. Yeah. I read it the same way. I'm like, are we making fun of senility?
Yeah.
The only time it's okay to make fun of senility is if it's Joe Biden. Everyone knows
I
that.
agree. I agree. That's funny for everyone. Yeah, I was watching this and I was like, I don't even. I was a little horrified. And then when he turns around, they turn on Hot Guy VA, and it's like, I was just kidding. The old man always teases the old woman. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
And then the ED is like just it's a still of the old lady with like a blushing face, and then just kind of like the old man in like kind of like various like hey sort of like poses, and at the end he's like holding a rose, and the song is just him humming.
Yeah,
just, like
I'm
tune.
okay. Here's the thing, like in my real life, I super enjoy that dynamic. I fuck with my girlfriend. My dad's always fucked with my mom. Like just being a bit of a tease and fucking around is a fun thing for me. And it's a thing that in my relationships cuts both ways. People fucking with each other. And I value that kind of relationship. This didn't communicate that until the very end. And then it was like, now I've just been thrown for a loop. Now I've got no idea what's happening. I could see myself liking this if this wasn't episode 1.
Yeah. All right, shall we get on to ratings? Chris, how do you rate the show?
Yes, Kamata G-san episode 1, My Doki Doki Retirement. Did the premise interest you? I don't know, honestly. I could see myself being interested in the pitch of like it's an old couple that like have fun, but like I don't know where it's going based on this first episode, so I'm gonna say not really. Like what I saw didn't interest me. The production impressed me, no. I mean, it was fine, but it was also just like very simple, very like low budget animation. The storytelling impressed me, no, just because that joke didn't really land. But I did learn the premise, so, or at least what the first episode purports is the premise. But no point for that. Did I enjoy the first episode? I don't know. I mean, it was better than some of the other ones, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. Did it make me interested to see more? It did not. So straight zeros, a much softer 0 than the last show, but still zeros.
I prefer a hard 0. 0.
The smolder look just then was crazy eyes.
0 with Kappa in the chat.
Dean, are you gonna steal my joke?
I don't have a joke to say
Okay.
right now. Not for this anyway. This was just fucking. I don't even. If this were any other of the 4 Comey that this is based on, I probably would have enjoyed it because I like the idea. The scenario I'm actually going to give it a point for. I like the idea of a short 4 Comey about an old couple fucking with each other. I think that's beautiful. I love it. I really do. And I feel it on a level because that's my life. I want that to be my life when I'm an old man. So, like, I should love this. But the fact that at the beginning of the episode, I'm sitting here going, why is this man being abused by his wife? He's obviously demented. This is terrible. The fact that all that happened makes me give it a 0 for everything else. Like, the production, I guess, is a different thing. So I should say it's fine. Like, it looks fine. It's obviously kind of a low budget short. It's, hard line. It's a basic, it's kind of like a motion comic, actually. It's very still, and it's the 4 Comey and all that. So it was fine, but it also wasn't great. And then storytelling all the way down to interested is 0s. So this thing gets a 1.
Well, that threw me for a loop. I have to figure out how to put a 1 in the sheet now.
It's been so long.
All right. Stealing Chris's joke, basically. Kamataji-san, episode 1, Doki Doki Retirement Home. Straight 0s. No. Libby?
All right. So I will go ahead and say that, I mean, to me, this show left me the same feeling as like when I used to work at IHOP and there would be a guy and a girl, and a girl would try to order a soda and her boyfriend would say, nah, she wants a water. She's trying to keep off those pounds, right?
Ugh.
Like, it's just like that awkward, like, it's not funny. Like, what are you doing? Like, how has she not dumped your ass yet? Like, that's all I felt by the end of this, is I was just like, if Steven and I were in our, like, 80s and he was making that joke about, I don't remember things around me, just kidding, I would have just thrown his breakfast in his face. Like, so I will have to say, I will give it a point for premise for the same thing. Like, there's almost no anime that's like centered around like old couples having fun. And I would actually be kind of interested in that. And I feel like there's not enough media around that shows, couples still being loving and having fun together. But that's not what this turned out to be at all. It was just uncomfortable. It was like trying to be funny, but was kind of offensive and just off-putting. And
yeah, off-putting is the word. Off-putting is the word. That's it. That encapsulates everything I felt watching this.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be a 1 for me because the rest are definitely 0s.
All right, that brings our total score for this show to a 2, or 10%. The last show we have to talk about is a full-length show, so maybe we'll have more to talk about, but that will be coming up right after this short break.
Tell me why you hurt me. What's your fascination? Come and bring your body to me. I crave annihilation. Tell me why you need love for the entertainment. don't give a fuck about nothing. Oh, what a feeling to be scared again. Remember when you used to say it's all gonna get better someday? 'Cause I hate to think I'm stuck here in the real world. It's time to get older. Hold the morning, let the night hang on. Time to get older. Just hold the morning, maybe one more time. Time to get older. But hold the morning, let the night hang on. Time to get older. Just hold the morning, maybe one more time. Run, 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 run. Till we all fall down. Run, 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 run. All day, all night. Till we all fall down, all fall down. Run, run, run. Till we all fall down, all fall down. Run, 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 run. All day, all night. Till we all fall down, all fall down, all fall down.
All right. We're back. In the next show, we have to talk about Moto Majime ni Fumajime Kaiketsu Zorori. That's a mouthful.
We'll just call it Sorority for short.
Dean,
Are we back?
we're back.
We are back.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck happens in
there
this
it
show?
is. Jesus. It's gonna be weird because of the delay, I was still dancing to the Be Right Back music when we were already back. And so it was playing back at a major delay for me. So my head's still bobbing on the live thing, and I wasn't like I confused myself. Anyway, yes. So we have we open on a treasure room with celebratory animals. There's a cat guy that is saying that he can fulfill his dream. He's up on a spire and he's like, I can fulfill my dream. He's getting married, and then he lifts up the veil on the thing. It's a human dude, and it ends up being that he was dreaming, and he awakes from this dream, and the human dude is giving them a baked yam. A lot of baked yams this episode. He's giving him a baked yam, and then he eats with his two animal buddies who were the same ones that were celebrating in the treasure room, and he's like, man, we're almost out of money, and he sees on the newspaper that there's a statue that there's a reward for, and then he puts down the newspaper and he sees the statue. It's right there, and he's like, oh, I'm taking that. So he goes and he like talks to the guy that owns the shop. The statue's just outside of him, and he's like, hey man, let me have that. And the guy's like, I'll sell it to what he does, he gives him all his money, and he had just told the animal friends that the money was for food. And also the animal friends are freaking out. Like, you just gave him all our money. You said that was for food. And he's like, look at this. He shows them the newspaper. And then the guy that's looking, the pug, that's the picture. It's a picture of a pug. And he's the guy who's looking for the statue and offering the reward. And he gets this aside for some reason that's minutes long. And he has this aside where he's saying, yeah, man, I like statues, and I've got these statues, and these are the big 3 statues, and this is one of them. And I want the other statue, so I'm going to give a reward for people who can bring me this statue. And the animals are like, oh, it's a great idea, because there's 1 billion yen in it for us. Like there's 1 billion yen reward for this thing. And so he, the guy they're with, he's like a fox or a cat. I think he's a fox.
I think he's a fox.
Yeah. He turns into Sly Cooper, but in a superhero outfit. And then there's a song. They're walking to the town where they're going to turn in the statue for the reward. There's a song that they sing while they're walking about what they would do with 1 billion yen. And then the
Does
Sly
this song
Cooper
go on
gives
for like 10 minutes? Because as I
too
was
long.
skipping through, like 3 times I skipped through,
I skipped
they were
it too.
still on the song.
I skipped it
funny
too
is
because I got the gist after the first line.
We watched through the whole thing, and like a couple of things you're saying are like resonating with like, okay, I'm not sure this is the right show, but that sounds right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember half of what happens in the first half.
So they're singing on the way to this town, and then he tells the animal dudes, he's like, hey, I got jobs for you. You find me a castle to buy, and you find me a bride. Okay. So the 2 guys go to the town, and one of them has put up a thing that's like, hey, rich mystery guy wants a bride. Come in a bridal outfit to this place, and you can maybe be that. And then the other guy is like, finds a castle. He can't find a big enough house for sale, basically. And then he finds a mansion. And it ends up being the mansion of the pug. I skipped a chunk here, so I'm not actually sure. So he shows up at the mansion, and he's like, I'm going to sneak into this mansion for some reason that I'm not actually sure of, because I skipped that piece.
We
and
all
there are
care
movers
so much
there.
about what happens in this show.
There are movers there, and he's like, okay, I'm going to sneak in dressed as a mover, and then he gets distracted by food. And he, like, takes a bunch of food. And then a shitload of brides show up. I skipped another piece. A shitload of brides show up is the next thing I saw. And they're all outside of this house where they're going to bring the statue for the reward, and then Sly Cooper can buy a woman. And so then a bunch of, like, one of the other animals is like, bro, check this out. And there's a shitload of the other statues. There's 5 other guys there with the same statue. They're like, I'm here for the reward too. And so they all rush inside to go get the guy to appraise the statue, to be like, one of these is real. And he gives them the money, supposedly, in their mind. That's how it's going to work out. But it doesn't, because they show up there, and the real one was already found. They've already located the real one. And the pug is like, you're a real one. And he's pointing at the statue. That's the real one. It's in a box. But no, he says it's already gone. It's already gone to the museum for the opening of this thing. I think it started raining. Anyway, he's like, that's the real one. So there's a fart, and I stopped caring. And
this is something very different than what I saw.
That's what I
the
saw.
pug,
Actually, maybe because
It
like
turns-
the Torin, said it was episode 1, but I wonder if it wasn't.
No, I went and found this elsewhere because that torrent kept trying to download an episode, and I was like, I'm not going to trust a link that automatically opens up a download dialogue.
Hmm.
So I went and
Oh, that
found
was
it
just
elsewhere.
the way that
That's
Chris
just the way I linked it. That was my
linked
bad.
it. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
still. Yeah, it was fine.
So
I
did we
watch
see the wrong one?
I think we might have.
All right.
So then there's a fart, and it moves the box, and there's something else in the fucking who cares. The pug was lying about the thing. He had the real one the whole time. It was a marketing ploy so that he could get the story into the paper. And then because he spent all his money trying to acquire the statue collection, and then he gives the Sly Cooper an envelope, and they think it's full of money, and then they look and it's discount coupons for the statue exhibit, and then they leave. And so the show has changed nothing. They're still wandering, and they still have no money, and there's no change in circumstances. So that the next episode, we can do some other inane bullshit that ends in the exact same way where nothing changes, and the loop will be the same every single episode. I feel like I've seen every episode of this
Yep.
in this one episode.
Yep.
And I could not care less.
Yep. I'm glad that Dean and I both skipped through this and both saw the exact same scenes.
I think there's a thing that happens at one point that I totally skipped, where one of the
Okay,
animal
there is.
friends
So I
gets
did
captured
see
for trying to steal the statue.
I did see a little bit more of this. Yeah, so the animal friend who snuck into the house, I don't know what he was doing. So I saw him at the fridge stealing food, and then he was captured, and then like all of the time they spend in the house after the guy, because it's like 7 minutes of the episode from the time that everyone is in the house trying to get their shit appraised to when the episode actually ends, and that's all our main character Fox dude trying to prove that his friend is innocent and didn't steal the original piece. And how does he do that? It was incredibly
with
stupid.
a fart. The guy indicates that there's something in the box. And
Oh,
the,
yeah.
And the animal
So
friend
the
jumps up
animal
and he farts at the box.
And so the pug rushes to catch the box, and the fox is like, this has the exact same energy as when I tumbled down the hill and ran 1,000,000 miles to catch a box, which is physically impossible, but that's neither here nor there. And so he's like, so the real one must be in the box, not on the way to the museum. So he opens the box, and the real one is in the box. And the real one being in the box is enough to make the pug confess that he set up the entire theft for publicity, because he just likes art and history so much. And it wasn't getting enough attention, so he was like, I'll lose it and offer $1 billion reward to get everyone's attention, and then have it returned on the last day. That'll get everyone's attention. But no one cares. So I want to know what Libby and Chris watched.
So
What did you guys see?
So what we saw was labeled as episode 1, which is why I'm confused. But would you guys describe? I'm looking at like the list of episodes according to the fandom site, which apparently there is one.
What?
But but the first episode says a
Why?
bride and Zorori Castle, which sounds like what you guys were describing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 2 is labeled as Zorori versus the Hot-Blooded Beat, which sounds like maybe what we saw, just based on the title.
Yeah.
Was your episode better?
No. But
The
Well,
only
so what we
saving
got-
grace was that the enemy that they were against, his superpower was super dad jokes,
oh, yeah.
and every
I
time he
hate
told
everything.
Nice.
a dad joke, it would freeze you in a block of ice.
So yeah, the TLDR of this one is I felt like actually we were following not the main character for most of it. We have this guy.
That's kind of how this one was too. Like it just cuts to the main character as he's walking through the woods. Somehow his animal friends beat him to the town. It's nonsense.
I wonder if it's almost kind of like a Mad Max-esque sort of situation where like it's always just like the stories that happen around this guy.
Don't even make that comparison, man.
But basically, there's this guy who considers himself like a hero of justice. He goes and he like collects bounties on bad guys. And so he hears that Zorori is a bad guy for reasons. Or actually, no, there's like a bird that was missing. Someone's pet bird went missing. And so they both go to like try to get the reward. But then he realizes like, wait a second, you're the one who was on the wanted posters. And so it's kind of like this weird thing of they're arguing over.
There's a B plot where the main character's wanted by the police for an unknown reason.
Yeah.
I think he's a serial killer.
So he's very clearly aesthetically based on Zorro. Probably.
See,
hence the
I
name,
thought he
too.
was a weird combination of Sonic and John Travolta from Grease.
That's probably the Beat character, the hop-leaded Beat.
Oh yeah. No, the enemy was definitely Zorro.
Yeah. So I guess we did see the same show. We just saw different episodes, which is thanks internet for mislabeling your shows.
Doesn't matter. It was garbage both times.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're arguing over like who's going to get this bird, and the bird's kind of a dick, and the girl who wants the bird back
talks?
is kind of I think kind of it acts like a dick. I don't know. But then like the girl's very cute, and so both of the guys like kind of want to like impress the girl, and that's why they're both competing to get the bird, but they're really just kind of getting each other's way, and it's a mess. So.
It ends up just becoming slapstick where everyone keeps getting frozen by dad jokes, and then the Sonic Grease guy starts like shooting hot steam out of his tail, which I'm just like, is that
episode revolves around a fart too?
Not a fart so much as just like expelling steam because he's hot-blooded.
It's not out of his butt, it's out of his tail. And I'm just like, what am I watching? What is that supposed to be like so for some reason he has a power to make steam come out of his tail. The other guy can freeze people by telling really bad dad jokes that don't even make sense half the time. It's
Zero in chat. This sounds like a Looney Tunes skit. Yes, except it's bad.
Yeah, that. Yep. I can't believe both episodes revolve around a fart.
Did y'all ever watch home movies on Adult Swim?
No.
Yes, I think so.
So they like make their own like little films and everything. And one of the films that they're watching, they pause it and they're just like, this is awful. This is garbage. This is terrible. And like one of them says, oh, I think it's alternative. And the other guy says, yeah, it's an alternative to good. And I'm just like, I feel like that's what this show is. Like any person that's a fan of this, oh, it's alternative. Yeah, it's an alternative to good. It's terrible. It's
God.
so
It's bug nutty without being interesting. It's like, and I don't know how they accomplish that.
I think there's a world where you're a young kid who's kind of like following the adventure, and maybe you think that like some of the characters are kind of like funny, or because apparently this is like the third adaptation of the source material. So clearly it's been around long enough to have been adapted several times. So I guess it's just kind of like, here's like Zorro for children with like this kind of cool, fun, plucky animal character.
Zorro for children is Zorro.
they didn't need a childrenized version.
Like the old Zorro show was on Nick at Night. I watched that shit when I was a child. Like that's a what? This is a franchise that has weight?
I don't think it does have weight because of how long this priceless piece of art was in the air, that our main character could like run and then tumble and then run down a hill and then catch the thing. There was no, well, I mean, weight doesn't technically affect gravity, but there was no gravity here.
Just judging by the
In
the
more ways than
artwork-
one, there's no gravity.
Judging by the artwork on the Wikipedia page when you look up the franchise, like it definitely has like this kind of like children's book sort of look to it. And the main character is kind of drawn in this way that like and like just at a glance it implies to me like kind of quirky, funny misadventures of this guy kind of. And that seems to be what the show was going for. It just was not good.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. Like,
It's bad.
I feel like the perfect way to explain how bad it was, it took y'all getting 75% through your synopsis for us to realize we didn't see the same thing because of how little we paid attention to watching it. So
Oh God.
that says all you
Exactly.
need to say.
Like it was sounding weird to me from the beginning, but it's like, okay, no, those characters, and I guess there was like something else they were doing at the beginning. But
I was like, I guess I just missed that. I was kind of dicking around on my phone. Like, I don't know. Maybe that happened.
I have such a deep and abiding hatred for everything I've seen. With regard to this show, the fact that the show revolves around it's a fart.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that our main character, Fox, has just decided that it's worth his time to develop his skill so that he farts, but he like puts his tail in front of his asshole
Well,
and
that's the thing
redirects
is
the
this
fart with his
fart-
tail.
But this fart was the animal friend. In the first episode, he just jumps through the air and farts at a box. And the fart is so powerful that it pushes the box like away.
It also so I have to question either the dietary habits or the hygiene of this animal friend, because this fart produces a yellow
It is
powdery
yes!
cloud of smoke.
It's terrible.
that's how you visualize odor, I guess.
Zero has a point. Zero says,
Well, but no one
Zero
reacts
says
to
Dean is
the
very passionate about-
odor
no, that's
of
not
the
where I saw
fart.
that. Who said? Somebody said something that made me have it. The dietary. You were concerned about the dietary issues with the thing. Okay, all we've seen him eat is 1/3 of a baked yam.
True.
That's all he's eaten in canon. That's all he's eaten.
High in
No,
fiber.
that's a lie. He ate the steamed buns. He ate a shitload of steamed buns. He was distracted by the food.
They'll do that to you.
It's the same guy who was distracted by the food when he
So-
snuck into
so
the
Dean-
museum disguised as a mover.
Dean, what I'm hearing is you are what you eat.
All right, Joe, move on to ratings.
Yeah. Dean has quit the show.
That's the lesson we take away from this. It's a morality children's story. And anyway,
All right, Dean, what are your ratings for this dog shit show?
Fucking zeros, man. Fuck the show.
Yep, zeros. Libby,
Let's rainfall these zeros.
Chris,
Moto Majime ni Fuja mean Kaikatsu Zozori episode 1 Zoro Astrianism. Did the premise interest me? Absolutely not. Did the production impress me? It's actually pretty solid for a children's show. Like, had a very consistent and decently done art style, but it was not impressive. The storytelling impressed me. Nope. Enjoyed it. Nope. The first episode made me to see more. It did not, and I guess it was technically not being the first episode. So straight zeros.
replacing since Dean has rage quit the show, replacing him will be Invarial. That brings our total score for the show to a 0 or 0%. And that was the last show we had to talk about. Thank God.
Thank God.
Which means it's time for more technical issues.
No, I fixed it.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important message. Tournamenta! Hi! 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 It's a fucking tournamenta! Tournamenta!
If you're not as hype as we are for the tournament arc, at least be a little bit hyped that Dean fixed the technical issues.
Yeah.
Hey.
This is how the
Look at
tournament arc
me.
works.
Welcome to the AniFiles tournament arc, which will determine our most and least watchable shows of the season. Right now, we're in the round robin stage, where each of the shows in today's group will be matched up against every other show, and we'll vote for which of the two shows we would rather watch, not necessarily which one is objectively better. The show with more votes wins, and ties are possible. The two shows with the best win-loss record will advance to our 12-show playoffs at the end of the season, and the grand champion will be required viewing for our hosts prior to the season recap. The show with the worst win-loss record today will advance to our 6-show losers bracket, and our host will also be forced to watch the winner of that bracket, our least watchable anime of the season, prior to our season recap. Now, without further ado, let's kick off round 1 of today's group play.
All right, round 1, match
Olympia
number 1.
Kikolos wins 3-way tie for worst. Let's leave.
First up, we have Gal Gaku, Hijiri Girls Square Gakuen versus Komata G-san. Which would you rather watch?
G-san.
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 Same here. That's a 4-0 in favor of G-san. Round 1, matchup number 2, we have Moto Majime ni Fuji Zorori versus Basatsu Olympia Kiklos. Which would you rather watch?
Olympia.
Kikolos.
Close.
Easy 4-0 for Kiklos.
Easy clap.
Round 2, matchup number 1, we have Kiklos versus Square Gakuen.
Kikolos.
Kiklos.
4-0 in favor of Kiklos. Round 2, matchup number 2, we have Komata G-san versus Zodori.
Wait,
G-san.
which two?
G-san and Zorori.
Oh, G-san.
Yeah, G-san.
Same. That's a 4-0 in favor of G-san. And our third and final round. to draw
Jason.
today. Jason. That's a Heavy Rain reference. Waiting for this to finish processing the JSON 140. It just can't accept it. It just doesn't.
It just doesn't want it. No. No.
Round 3, matchup number 1. We have Zorori versus Square Gakuen.
Ugh. Ugh.
Ah.
Ugh.
Why don't you
like
understand that anime belongs in the trash?
Normally
I'm
this would be a
gonna
no-brainer because the short would win, but
I'm actually gonna say Gakuen because although it's slightly boring, it's like a slightly boring bad trip. So,
and it's 2 minutes.
and it's 2 minutes. It's like a short,
Same.
slightly boring bad trip.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
I'll
same.
go with that.
And same. So that's a 4-0 in favor of Square Gakuen, a phrase I did not think I would say today. And our final matchup of the day is G-san versus Kiklos.
Kiklos.
Kikolos.
Same. That's a 4-0 in favor of Kiklos.
All right. In fourth place, our least watchable show advancing in the losers bracket with a perfect 0-3. Moto Majime ni Fumajime Kaiketsu Zorori. Why did I say that all?
Because you could.
Our second least watchable show with a 1-2 Gal Gaku Hijiri Girls Square Gakuen. Our third least watchable show with a 2-1 Komata G-san. And advancing in our winners bracket, the most watchable show, Bisatsu Olympia Kiklos.
G-san will also be advancing in the winners bracket, but
I will shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
still
going
at least
anywhere.
watchable. So it's
Yeah,
at least watchable,
it'll-
but it's advancing.
Unless it gets a bye, it's not surviving the first round. Not this season anyway. The thing about this that I have a question.
Yep.
Because we have a show like Moto.
Yeah.
When we're judging what the worst show is when the tournament arc comes around. Is it the show that is just the worst or that is the most hateable? Because Moto, I think, is the worst show ever.
Card fight, Vanguard Gaidenif.
Oh.
So yeah, for the tournament arc, it just really does come down to which would you rather watch, and sometimes there's a correlative relationship between quality and watchability, but
Yeah.
sometimes something that might be objectively better is the one that we would find more painful to watch. So we would look at
Yeah,
Sometimes
I think
hateability makes it more stomachable.
that's true too. I really do think this is one of the worst shows.
Card fight,
Ever.
Vanguard
I
Gaiden.
know. I know. Also terrible. I just
If you're
yeah.
still not convinced, Mucal Dreamy.
Oh God.
Michael Dreamy was palatable compared to that.
Semi-watchable at least. I need
It
to
was-
watch. I'm gonna go back and
compared
watch
to
Group
which?
C.
Well, either in my mind, but
Either, both. I gotta go back and watch Group C, which I think, I'll be honest, could skew it a little bit because of like novelty bias. Like I'm like because first like apparently in talking with you guys, Group C has good shows in it.
Listen, here's how
And-
Group C is going to go for you. You're going to watch about 3 episodes of Gleipnir because the first episode is going to be kind of interesting and a little bit hot, and then you're going to get bored. You're going to watch of all of Villain. Well, you're going to watch like probably 8 episodes of Villainous, and then you're going to get bored, and whether or not you watch the rest depends on how committed you feel. You're going to watch the first episode of Gal and Dino and go, yeah, okay. You're going to watch the first episode of Argo Navis and go, yeah, that wasn't great. And then you're going to watch all of BNA.
Okay, so do I even need to watch them?
well, yeah.
I mean,
Because
yeah.
I think like everything you said sounds exactly like what I would do.
you need to watch them though, just to be able to compare for the tournament arc.
I
So.
do want to go back and watch some of the stuff that we had earlier.
I mean,
if I recall.
BNA is like actually a contender for most watchable. And well, both BNA and Villainous are contenders for most watchable of the season, in my opinion. So I think you should
If
definitely
I
watch
recall,
those.
You can actually just go
I
back
want to
and
go
watch the
back
shows
and
that
watch.
ended up in the brackets.
Yeah,
So
that's true
it's
too.
3 instead of the 5 or 6.
I do want to go back and watch. I watched a little bit more Listeners. I want to go back and watch Sing Yesterday. I watched a little bit more of that and still enjoy it. I think that's it.
Yesterday is going to be interesting. So I'm
Also, Wave Listen to Me. Like I could watch more of Wave Listen to Me. I found that show to be like very charming.
current on Yesterday, and it's fucking fantastic. I was looking at this show going, this is going to be great. Because it was moving kind of slow, but it was moving purposefully, and it was interesting, and it was going to be like 18 episodes, plenty of time to tell a full story. And then all of a sudden, last week, they're like, nope, we're going to cut the last 6 episodes. It's 12 episodes. And they're not at a place to stop.
Is this
There's
a
one
result
episode
of
left.
is this a result of Corona?
I don't know. The guy who...
Could they not finish the rest of the second core, so they were just like, let's just cut it at one core and maybe do the rest later?
The guy who I was talking to about this, another one of my friends who's also current on it, was saying that it was actually a mistake that they only ever planned to do 12. Except that they have the pacing for 18 episodes. I don't know. Anyways, it's been fucking fantastic so far, but it's about to just stop.
I'm excited to go watch
A
it.
friend of mine on Twitter was actually saying, and I used to go to school with them, was saying actually that he would categorize that. And there was another show that I disagreed with, but he said like really great source material with a mediocre anime adaptation. So if you're finding the anime to be really good still, then that could just be a sign that like, yeah, it's really good. So
Yeah, I'm very interested to watch that because that show hooked the shit out of me. I do wonder, and this is probably more a thing to talk about on the actual tournament episode, but since it's the last I guess it's the last like core season episode of the show. Do we know how Corona stuff is going to affect next season yet? Like
that's a
how
good question.
empty is the slate gonna be?
I haven't checked next season yet. A lot of stuff got delayed from this season. A lot of stuff has been pushed back to October from the current season. So I assume that stuff is getting pushed back from next season too. Because technically it should have been hit harder.
Yeah, because they would have been working on more shows from the next season.
Yeah,
during
it'll be
this whole
interesting to see what
period.
comes out and when. I suppose if
It
worse
could
comes
end
to
up
worse,
being a really, really light season.
Mm-hmm.
it could just be a light season, or if worse comes to worse, we'll just have like a bunch of like retrospective episodes or something like that.
We could do that. We could talk about manga. We could do. There's all kinds of shit we could do to like do our show. I'm not worried about our thing. I'm a little worried though about the industry. Like, if they have a super light season, that could cause problems, especially with some of the things that are supposed to be upcoming. Like, there's a lot of cool shows that are supposed to be getting second seasons that I haven't heard anything about. And like second and third and continuing. I'm a little concerned for the industry because it's kind of been problem after problem
Mm-hmm.
for the last 6 months or so. There was the fire at
KyoAni.
KyoAni, and then just a couple of months after that, Corona just fucking shuts everything down.
We shall see.
We shall.
This has been episode 97 of AniFiles. We are doing a competition.
Competitions?
Yeah.
Do you mean competitions that are kind of like tournament arcs?
I do mean competitions that are exactly like, well, tournament arcs. Kind of, well. That was shorter than I was anticipating.
No, that was the only one I was playing.
Yeah, if you next week when we do our tournament bracket, you can submit predictions for how it's going to play out. And if you get the best prediction, Chris is going to make you a custom AMV. Something a little bit like this.
Sometimes I need to remember just to breathe. Sometimes I need you to stay away from me. Sometimes I'm in disbelief, I didn't know. Somehow I need you to go. Don't stay. Forget our memories, forget our possibilities. What you were changing me into. Just give me myself back and don't stay. Forget our memories, forget our possibilities. Take all your faithlessness with you. Just give me myself back and don't stay. Sometimes I feel like I trusted you too well. Sometimes I just feel like screaming at myself. Sometimes I'm in disbelief, I didn't know. Somehow I need to be alone. Don't stay. Forget our memories, forget our possibilities. What you were changing me into. Just give me myself back and don't stay. Forget our memories, forget our possibilities. Take all your faithlessness with you. Just give me myself back and don't stay.
Giggity.
Giggity.
That is so fucking cool. Like I have the biggest nostalgia boner right now. Like I fucking love Sonic X.
Yeah, it was an interesting exercise because so Stiv was our contest winner last season, and so you requested Sonic X set to Don't Stay. And I think that's partially because when I was like, I want to say like 13, 14, something like that, I made an AMV that was basically that, like not all of that. It was just like based on the first couple of episodes. But I guess he was kind of nostalgic for that one. So I sort of was channeling my inner 13-year-old, but kind of like applying some of like my newer techniques. But yeah, like I did it all in like 640 by 480 because that's like the source material, and use like very minimal like special effects and stuff to kind of emulate that feel. So yeah.
The syncing, especially the beginning, the syncing to the song is so fucking cool, man. Like, God, I love that show. I miss that show. It probably wouldn't be good. If I went back and watched it now, it probably wouldn't be good. And yeah, it makes me scared too.
Like I was mentioning earlier, like, so first of all, there are a lot of filler episodes, especially in the first season. But yeah, it's funny because I had an easier time making the first version of this however many years ago because I was using the episodes with good animation. And so much of the series has pretty poor animation. So like I had to kind of, especially for like the last 2/3 of this video, kind of just scrape together what seemed decent and put it into a way that made it seem decent. It's yeah, it's definitely a very low budget series, but apparently also like much more popular in the US than it was in Japan.
God, the American OP is so fucking cool. Like that show, that was my Saturday morning show of choice. Like it was awesome. I think that show's responsible for a lot of like the Sonic based like fandom that you see, especially in people who are like our age. That show was just balls out. It was so cool.
Well, it's worth entering next week because last season, Steven won by default. There were no other entries. You've got a pretty good shot.
We don't currently have it in our rules, but I'm going to make a little addendum before we post them again. We're probably, unless it's also another win by default, not going to have the same winner twice in a row. So even more reason for you to jump in and have a good shot. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. Catch us next week. This show is available on Apple Podcasts or wherever great podcasts are distributed. We live stream this show on Twitch, twitch.tv/Xerc, and I upload the VODs to YouTube on the AniFiles channel. Chris, that AMV, are you going to put it on your YouTube or are we going to put it on the AniFiles channel?
AniFiles is my thought.
Okay.
I still need to put a few kind of finishing touches on it. I basically finished the edit last night, but there's still a few little tweaks I want to make. But then once that's done, it will go up on our channel.
Yeah, then catch the AniFiles YouTube for the final cut of that AMV as well. What happens next? Oh, Discord. We have a Discord.
Libby. Oh,
join us on Discord, so that you can see me talk about shows, girls, 38 inches of unrequited love ahead of time.
Yep.
Exclamation mark Discord.
My laughter at that was much more understandable when you see what was posted on the Discord.
Yeah, exclamation mark Discord in Twitch chat or link in the show notes in the description. Links wherever links are found on the platform where you are consuming this. And we are a product of Alternative Internet Radio. You can find us and our other great shows at airad.io. And you can follow the network on Twitter at AltNetRadio. Zero has probably the best promo I could give for the Discord. Join the Discord to see the weird shit that gets posted at 3 a.m. Pretty much the only time the Discord is active.
Yeah.
Now that
Usually.
you mention it.
I've been your host, Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Xerc. I had to remember who I was. Or on AniList, user Xerc. Libby, thank you so much for being a guest.
Always a pleasure, gents.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. It's at gingerroots4, and my Instagram at gingerroots4u, and that's just a U. Going back to the old 2000s, putting a U instead of spelling out. Who has time for a Y or an O? Nobody. Nobody's got time for
Not
that.
me.
What was it T9? I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as always, feel free to explore the dark corners of the internet to try to find my middle school Zanga, so that I can burn it immediately.
If I magically found my Zanga, I wouldn't have access to the email account that I used
Yeah.
to recover my password or anything. But
I would
like,
I would just like read through it and just cringe. That's all I could do. I would just wish that I could burn it, but all I'd be able to do is read through it and be like, ugh.
Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at KRUEGER_Chris. You can also hear some of my past podcasting work on the backward-compatible.com podcast, Games and New Media with a Splash of Academia, and the Doc and Kruger cast, the official podcast of Doc and Kruger Games.
Dean?
Yes. I'm Dean. You can find me on Twitter at DinoFiles. Just those characters. DinoFiles. You can also find my show on Alternative Internet Radio or wherever podcasts are distributed. The show is DinoFiles. And you can read the things that I write sometimes, the Rogue File, roguefile.com. And I will say, speaking of 2000s names on things, Ryan keeps telling me to change my Xbox Live name. And I will never do it. It is a relic of its time.
It sure is.
I have Zero said I don't know what Killer No Snopes XX
Killer
XX,
No
Killer
Scopes.
Killer No Scopes.
I think it's supposed to be Scopes, but it's missing the C.
Six.
So it's Killer
Anyway,
No
yeah.
Soaps.
Mine is very similar to that. My Xbox name is very similar to that. So it's never changing. All hail the 2000s forever. And yeah, that's I just wanted to say that here. I'll never change. I'll never change. I'll never change anything. So your Ginger Roots for you is safe, and it should be safe forever.
All right, AniFiles cast members. Let's say our catchphrase. You
are
Hellenes,
Hellenes,
a citizen of Greece.
of Greece.
Flawless.
Impeccable,
Perfect.
as always.
Always.
All right. I should have pulled this up earlier to see who was on Twitch, if there's anyone I want to host. But I didn't, so I'm doing it now.
We're doing it live.
All right. Twitch auto-played, and it doesn't normally, and I'm unhappy about that. Nope. No one I want to host. So, you guys go watch a streamer. Do something. Have fun. We will catch you next week.